and let us all do we can to build a better future.
In 2016 and 2020, Senator Bernie Sanders built a movement that would forever change the realm of politics here in America. Unfortunately, Senator Bernie Sanders never had the backbone to really challenge the two-party system. And this two-party system has constantly been screwing over the American people. Now, Bernie Sanders went all in for the Democratic Party because, let's face it, Bernie Sanders and a lot of people suffered from Trump derangement syndrome, all while ignoring the other corruption, the large amount of corruption that's in the Democratic Party. And let's face it, we have covered this before, as have had numerous other independent media networks, the corruption of the DNC. How the DNC chooses their candidates behind closed doors. We have seen firsthand of polling stations being shut down, lack of paper ballots, people waiting in line 4 hours to vote, 8 hours to vote, 12 hours to vote, 24 hours to vote. No, I kid you not. This was happening in 2016 and 2020. And Bernie Sanders never had the audacity or the courage to really speak out, to really fight back. And right now, what we're witnessing in this 2020, in the beginning stages of 2024 Democratic primary, is that the Democratic Party is all on board to have Biden as their nominee. And by doing so, they are not doing any debates whatsoever. However, there is a hashtag going across social media called Force the Debates. Force the debate. Make it happen. And unfortunately, Senator Bernie Sanders, as soon as Biden made his announcement, went right ahead, bent over backwards, and said, I support Biden. His good friend, Joe Biden, who's been on the wrong side of history numerous times. So people are now demanding a debate. People are demanding something. They're demanding something different, but Bernie's not going to deliver that. Bernie Sanders will never do the right thing. And of course, when you have sycophants like Rob Reiner, of all people, who tells you that he's sick and tired of people complaining about Biden's age, remember, Bernie's never going to fight anything. Reiner, the man knows how to govern. Biden, listen, fat, I got hairy legs. Let's talk about what good old Rob Reiner wrote. I'm sick and tired of hearing Democrats writing about Joe Biden's age. The man knows how to govern. The man doesn't know where he's at, fathead. Just shut up and vote to save democracy. Shut up and follow orders. Hey, Bernie Sanders, remember that revolution moment? Yeah. It's been replaced with not me, us. It's been replaced to just shut up and vote to save democracy. Don't think for yourself. Shut up and follow orders. Shut up and just vote for the senile old man who doesn't know where he's at. And yeah, Rob Reiner. You know, Rob, didn't you wrote a tweet some time ago, as soon as Biden got elected, when he won? And you wrote this big brain tweet called, "Hang on, kids, we're going to get you out of those cages." Let's have democracy in the chat, audience. Type 1 if you think Rob Reiner and all of his Hollywood friends quickly got in their expensive cars, drove south of the border, and got those kids out of cages. Type 1 if they did that, and everything's all good. Rainbows and sunshine all around. Type 2 like, no, kid, they didn't do that. What's wrong with you? Come on, kid. Kid. You know that they didn't. But again, more people are demanding action. Now, I was surprised to see this video. You know, James Vanderbeek decided to speak out against the DNC and the Democratic lawmakers on Memorial Day. And of course, while he's walking backwards, ignore that distraction. Listen to the words, because I found them interesting. I want to play it for all of you. Check it out. Hey, Bernie, you can't stop people from wanting to see a debate. Can your friend Joe Biden handle a debate? Your good friend Joe Biden?
See, by the people, to the democracy by them. For who? Big banks, big business, big tech, big pharma, big government, big whatever. I mean, what the hell? How is this a democracy? And how is anybody in the DNC right today going to post about thanking our troops, and thanking the families who have made the ultimate sacrifice to preserve our democracy and our way of freedom. Now, listen, I am grateful for them, but any member of the DNC who's going to think about posting that today, stop, think, and do your fucking job before you start posting about how grateful you are. There are people out there who are willing to die to preserve democracy, because you are not preserving democracy right now. You're shoehorning your pick and forcing it on the rest of us. And don't tell me that the other candidates aren't serious, because one of them is polling at 7%. The other one is at 19%. That is a quarter of the vote who already thinks there's at the very least some debate about who ought to be president. There's no debate, there's no democracy. No primary, no legitimate president.
Now listen here. Listen here, James. Rob Reiner just told you to be quiet. All right? Just shut up and vote. Just shut up and vote. Now, I'm not asking all of you to agree with James Van Der Beek. I'm not asking you all to agree with my opinion on Rob Reiner, but tell me, who is making a more correct statement for you to think for yourself? James Van Der Beek, type 1 if you think it's James. Type 2 if you think it's Rob Reiner. I know. Just think about it, okay? Think for yourselves. That's the one thing I'm going to ask all of you to do during this election cycle. You're going to have to make your own choice. I'm not going to tell any of you how to vote. Now, I have been consistent. I'm going to vote independent. I'm going to vote third party. And if one thing I will ask of you, just to consider, if you're burnt out by electoral politics, you don't have to vote for any politician. But if you live in a ballot initiative state, learn about the ballot initiatives that are happening in your state and vote for it if it's a good one and vote against it if it's a bad one. Okay? That's the only thing I'll ask you to do. And you can give a middle finger to everyone else as you walk in. You do that one thing and you walk right out. That's the only thing I'll ask you to do as a favor. Again, it's your choice. Everyone has their own choice.
So thank you to all the troops. Thank you to the families who have made the ultimate sacrifice to preserve our way of life, to preserve our democracy. Let's all do our part. We need a debate. How do we have a government? How do we have a democracy if we're letting a small little back room of people make all the important decisions for us? That's not a democracy, and it doesn't work, because y'all have been wrong about a lot these last couple of years in that back room. No debate, no democracy. And I could be wrong. That's the thing. I could be wrong about all this.
But you're not, buddy. You're not. You're not wrong.
I could be wrong.
I'm more impressed that you are still walking backwards, though. Hold on. Not on subject. Off target. But I'm impressed that you're walking backwards for a solid 2 minutes and 20 seconds, and you didn't fall down. I'm impressed with that, man. 2 thumbs up from old Kit Kat.
About the guy being fit for the job. I could be wrong about the other people being right, being legitimate, being crazy. You know what would solve that? A debate. Have a debate. Happy Memorial Day.
I also want to go back in time. Back in time to a simpler era. 2016. Because, see, the Democratic Party wants to think that it can get people to fall in line. Now, look, the DNC was more or less successful in 2020 to get enough people to vote for Biden out of fear. You know, we were all bombarded with propaganda by the Democratic Party we gotta vote for Biden. We gotta vote for Biden because he's better than Trump. Well, look, Biden's got a whole lot of issues. And see, the thing is, the DNC really can't hide him anymore. Can Biden handle himself in a debate? And let's say there's a general election. What's the party going to do if there's a conversation, a debate between Biden and Donald Trump or any other Republican nominee? How's Biden going to hold himself? See, the thing is, Democrats, you've got an old senile horse as your front runner. And the thing is, voters are not puppets. Eventually, people get tired and angry, and there's a lot of people who are unimpressed and disappointed of having this Biden-Harris administration constantly fail and screw over American workers. So let's go ahead and go back to 2016, a simpler era. Listen to these words, because they still resonate today. And of course, listen to how the corporate media jagoff from DNC is trying to control and twist the narrative. Like, oh, you're not going to vote for Hillary? Let's play it.
Sure. So tell me, what is your reaction to everything that's been going on this weekend at the convention? This email scandal. What do you think?
Well, I think it just confirms what we felt all along, that Bernie's campaign has been undermined from the purportedly impartial media. And the DNC itself.
So tell me, what happens now? If could you see yourself voting for Hillary Clinton?
Absolutely not.
And I didn't vote for Hillary Clinton either.
So then what's the alternative? Who do you think you'll vote for?
I think I'll vote for Jill Stein. I'm going to watch the polling numbers and pray that if the superdelegates don't pick the strongest candidate, that Bernie will throw his support behind Jill Stein.
Now, many Hillary Clinton supporters will say, look, a vote for a third-party candidate could essentially be seen as a vote for Donald Trump.
Now, again, be ready for that, because it's going to come at you very hard from left field, where you're going to have Democratic lawmakers, vote blue no matter who, sycophants, say, oh, if you vote third party or independent, you're going to help Trump. Well, then the Democrats should have a stronger candidate, and they should earn my vote. And if they are not going to earn my vote, then I am not going to fight for them. I'm not going to vote for them. Simple as that. My vote for a third-party candidate or an independent is not a vote for Trump. My vote for a third-party candidate or independent candidate is a vote for that said third-party or independent candidate because they earned my vote. I will never vote Democrat, and I sure as hell won't vote Republican.
Are you okay with that?
I think a superdelegate vote for Hillary is, in fact, a superdelegate vote for Trump. I agree that if you put Hillary as our candidate, there's a lot of us that are Democrats that will not vote for her. Personally, I feel that her platform has every opportunity to pass because she's really a Republican, whereas Trump is hated by his own base. And I think 4 years of Trump getting nothing done is better than really 8 years because Hillary will automatically be the nominee in 4 years, so we'll have 8 years without a progressive candidate.
A lot of folks here told me they want a third-party candidate. However, you were telling me just a few minutes ago, you actually prefer Donald Trump to Hillary Clinton.
I would prefer Donald Trump. I want Jill Stein, absolutely, or Bernie Sanders. Barring that, I do think that Trump is less dangerous.
All right, so Chris, as you can
Yeah, see? BSDNC. You can't control the narrative. Again, this video is a work of art. This video is a work of art. I'm so happy I found this gem. I'm so happy I did. It is a beautiful thing to see. And so you see, Bernie, even people in your own movement were able to fight more courageously than you ever did, Bernie. People want to see a debate. Now, Bernie Sanders is going to go all in for his friend, his good friend, Joe Biden. That's exactly what Bernie is going to do. He is not going to fight for the people. I want to pull up this interesting discussion on Force the Debate on Fox News, where you have a Democratic operative try to gaslight the panel because the DNC has to do damage control. Because again, that one woman who is speaking her truth in 2016, those words still resonate today. They still do. Sorry, vote blue no matter who. But people are unimpressed with Biden and your fear tactics of, oh, we got to be careful of Trump. We got to be careful of Trump. We got to be careful of Trump. It's not going to work anymore. So let's play it for the people.
President Biden may be the Democratic frontrunner going into the 2024 election, but it's still very early, and with consistently low approval ratings, not a foregone conclusion that Democrats want him on the party's ticket, though that may be likely. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and Marianne Williamson have jumped into the race, challenging the president for the Democratic nomination, and there could be more to come. But the Democratic National Committee has already decided to forego primary debates. That's not sitting well with many, including actor James Van Der Beek. The former Dawson's Creek actor is bashing the DNC for doing a disservice to democracy by not letting the other candidates get their message out there.
I cannot get over the fact that the Democratic National Committee is saying there will not be a debate to decide the nominee for president. Are you kidding me? There's no debate over an 80-year-old man who, if he lives, will be the oldest sitting president in the history of the country. And if he doesn't live, has a vice president whose approval rating is worse than his. This guy's obviously declining mental faculties. What about the will of the people? What about the will of the people who voted for the guy last time? Because of those people, 72% think there ought to be a debate. So the DNC is openly ignoring, bypassing the will of the people. If we don't have a debate, this is not a democracy by the people. It's a democracy by them.
You know, Leslie, I will give you historical precedent here because it is true that this happens in both parties. When you have an incumbent president, there is precedent for this in a long list of it. That being said, I do want to pop up these numbers. You have these kind of two long shot candidates in Kennedy and Williamson. Kennedy's at 16%, Williamson 8%. That's pretty high up against Joe Biden's 62% for individuals whose names might not be well known. Not only that, ABC Washington Post said 58% of Democrat-leaning adults.
Now look at these numbers. Again, Biden, 36%. Someone else, 58%. These numbers are abysmal. And by the way, K-Hive, your champion, Kamala Harris, an absolute disaster. She's doing worse than Biden. That's how bad your heavyweight champion is.
Want someone else. So there does seem to be an appetite for exploration, let's say.
I have no problem with him not debating these individuals. I don't consider 8 and 16% good numbers, and a debate
for someone unknown. For a self-help therapeutic.
Now, of course, again, gotta gaslight the panel.
Her name Kennedy is known.
Marianne Williamson is not.
True, but she doesn't even have 10%. I mean, you know this. One debate, 10 debates isn't going to get the number high enough to knock Joe Biden off of the pedestal. One. And two, I'm glad you talked about precedent because you have Reagan, you have both of the Bushes, you have Trump. They didn't, as an incumbent, you want your party to support you. And the Democratic Party, if they're not all on board right now, they will be when he is the Democratic nominee.
I've seen the smug attitude before from quote unquote vote blue no matter who, or Democratic establishment hack frauds. There's a lot of overconfidence here, right? And the thing is, this could potentially blow up in the Democrats' face in hilarious fashion, to which I'm going to be grabbing the popcorn and laughing. Yes, vote blue no matter who. I am going to be laughing at you because it's going to be funny. It's going to be hilarious to me because I like seeing the Democratic establishment cry and moan and beg, please vote for our guy. I mean, American voters are struggling under this administration. We have rising inflation, homeowners and apartment owners struggling just to make ends meet. Small businesses are being shut down. Our infrastructure is falling apart. Hey, has Biden visited East Palestine, Ohio? Yeah, probably not. Does Flint, Michigan have clean drinking water? No. Are the kids out of cages south of the border? No. Nothing has fundamentally changed. And so the thing is, what this Democratic operative fails to realize, and again, I will not be participating or voting in the Democratic primary, but again, RFK Jr. and Marianne Williamson's campaign are still going on. And their approval rating, their polling numbers can and possibly will potentially continue to go upwards. That is something that the DNC doesn't want any of you to know about because Biden is unpopular. His vice president, Kamala Harris, is unpopular. And there's nothing that they can do to fix that image. Plus, side note, again, billions of dollars in aid going to this ridiculous war in Ukraine. I mean, there's no accountability for any of the weapons whatsoever. And according to some recent reports, some of those Javelin missiles are now somehow, surprisingly, in Mexico, of all places. Isn't that fantastic? No accountability on the weapons that are being shipped to Ukraine. This is happening under the Biden-Harris administration. There's so much to be angry about. And the Democrats think that their guy, Biden, is going to be their champion. Were they not paying attention to that Trump town hall at CNN? They know. They just don't want to admit it.
once again, as he will be. So I don't have a problem. I would have a problem if he wasn't going to debate his opponent, who could be, Donald Trump or Ron DeSantis. That I would have a problem with. This I don't have a problem with.
Self-help guru at almost 10% is unknown. Pretty
I mean,
big.
this isn't about whether or not the other two can get their numbers ticked up and they can beat Biden. This is about whether or not Biden ought to have that job. I mean, the questions that exist about him now didn't exist about the other men that you just listed. They just simply didn't. And they exist now. He doesn't want to even look. That number, by the way, was a little bit higher just last week. So it's going back and forth. Robert Kennedy getting ready to get back on the trail just this week. So it'll be interesting to see. It's not just about whether or not he's going to see a real challenge, but the real challenge right now is, can you understand what the man is even saying?
I can.
Can he actually debate?
Wait, you could understand senile old man? That is fantastic. Please elaborate further.
Maybe we can translate.
You must have one heck of a secret Dakota ring, because a lot of people have a struggle with it.
Hold on. We're going to rewind that again, because this smug person said, I can understand. Really? Really? Hey, let's have democracy in the chat. I know, controversial statement. What is democracy? When our president of these United States speaks, Joe Biden, when he's on that stage or has a microphone in his hand, type 3 if you're like, yeah, kid, I understand what he's saying. He's gonna return his soul back to America. Type 4 of, no, man, he sounds like a gibbering old senile fool. That's what he sounds like. That's what he sounds like. Back in the 1900s, we were doing this kind of dance. That's I'm gonna type in 4, because sometimes I barely understand what he's trying to say.
And so when he goes up against,
Hold on, let's rewind that.
job. I mean, the questions that exist about him now didn't exist about the other men that you just listed. They just simply didn't. And they exist now. He doesn't want to even look. That number, by the way, was a little bit higher just last week. So it's going back and forth. Robert Kennedy getting ready to get back on the trail just this week. So it'll be interesting to see. It's not just about whether or not he's going to see a real challenge, but the real challenge right now is, can you understand what the man is even saying?
I can.
She said, I can, like some school punk.
Can he actually debate?
Maybe we can translate.
You must have one heck of a secret Dakota ring, because a lot of people have a struggle with it. And so when he goes up against Republicans, he's not going to be able to debate a DeSantis or a Trump. I mean, there's no way. He needs the reps. Even at 80-something, he needs the reps more than ever.
And that's a big if he debates a Trump or a DeSantis, Emily, because that's what worries me most. This guy's going to try to skirt out of the debates, Politico with this. The Biden folks believe that Trump or any other Republican nominee will be reluctant to work with the Commission on Presidential Debates, lessening the chances and risk of a head-to-head debate.
Now, here's the thing. On the off chance someone of the Trump campaign is watching this live stream, you better fight tooth and nail, and you better get your boy Trump ready for a debate, because that's the only way also he'll be getting his numbers up too. Trump's got to be ready for those Republican primary debates, town halls, and yes, a potential face-off with Biden in 2024. We need to have debates. We need to see them. Now, again, I'm not going to tell any of you how to vote. I personally want to see them because I want to see this quote-unquote great man, Joe Biden, handle himself on the debate stage. I want to hear him speak for more than just a few minutes. I want to hear him speak for an hour or 2 hours. I want to see if he can hold his own without stuttering and stammering all over the place. Because, again, you hear the slurring. You hear him getting off topic. This is going to be the old. If Biden gets reelected, he'll be the oldest sitting president in U.S. history. That's pretty pathetic that we are now in this day and age of being ruled over people who should be in the old folks' home. Yes, I'm going to say it again. People like Biden, Dianne Feinstein, every one of these senile old politicians in the Democratic and Republican Party need to leave immediately. Congress is nothing more than a glorified old folks' home with these young politicians waiting in wings just to replace them.
So my real worry here is maybe not the primary, but the general election.
I just think if you were president of the United States, if you were commander in chief, you would welcome any opportunity to demonstrate confidence and leadership. And I think this is one more example of that our president has neither of those two. To me, how would an American person, American voter, know that they can trust that commander-in-chief, that representative of the people with a President Xi, with a President Putin. If we don't know and can't even trust him on the stage in the primary or the general, there's very real concerns about his competency, about his effectiveness with communication, about the clarity of his messaging, but his ability to recall and represent all of us, which he does 24 hours a day. So to me, I applaud James Van Der Beek for asking the questions and saying the point that many people themselves are asking, which is, are you representing the will of the people by foregoing this, regardless of precedents? Are you representing me? Are you demonstrating to me that you are worthy of my vote, especially in the primary, if I were a Democrat? Because frankly, the resounding answer is obviously no.
Exactly. And you could tell right there that vote blue no matter who's sycophant, the one in the purple shirt or blouse, you know, is just furious. She's giving her like the eye daggers because how dare you say that a politician in the Democratic Party has to earn people's votes? How dare you?
Yeah, and Chris, I mean, what is it with Democrats not debating? You know, you had Katie Hobbs, right? She wouldn't debate. She knew she had a strong opponent on the other side. John Fetterman, he only did one. It seems to be a trend, and Joe Biden may try to continue it.
So, Harris, you made a great point about he needs the reps, right? And yeah. I love that. When we used to play football, our coach used to say, you know, practice does not make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. Mm-hmm. And he does need the reps. And Emily, I totally agree with you. This is a great opportunity for the President of the United States to demonstrate leadership, right? There was one poll that said, and this just came out on April 30th, 79% of eligible voters who voted for Biden want him to debate in the primaries. They want to understand the issues. They want to understand what is his plan for inflation? What is your plan for border security? Mm-hmm. All of those things. Mm-hmm. They want to hear what he has to say, but they also want to see what is not said. What is your ability to command presence? What is your ability to hold a room? What is your ability to project strength in the face of the greatest geopolitical threats this country has ever faced at this time? That's what we all want to see. That's why we want him out here. You're the President of the United States. Get in front of the people every chance you have.
You know, Leslie, I'm
not on the trail.
I'm not sure that even though perfect reps could get Joe Biden in a place to take on any one of the GOP contenders against him. I don't care how many reps you do. I mean, this man, I just don't think he has the ability.
Well, that's what they said last time, because this is all.
Now, look, he barely won by the skin of his teeth. And again, it wasn't a popular vote. It was the Electoral College that helped Biden.
Well, there's a difference to me.
One of the debates
he's President of the United States. And I think one of the reasons for that is by the time the debates come up, you know, before the general election, most people have made up their mind. It doesn't move the needle all that much. And especially in our country, it's very divided, and we're a two-party, you know, system, mostly because of the Electoral College. So you have...
She said the quiet part loud. Yeah, it's because of the Electoral College that we have the two-party system. Why the Electoral College needs to be abolished. But again, she's failing about, and failing about too, to try and defend Biden. Are you believing her words? Type a yes if you do. Type no if you don't.
Most likely it will be either Donald Trump or Ron DeSantis on that stage with Joe Biden. And at the end of the day, I'm going to put it out there. I think he's going to win again. And even despite the lower approval ratings, because since 2016, I don't put stock in any polls. Polls that say they want him to debate. There are polls that say they want him to run. There are polls that say they don't want Trump to run. Should Joe Biden, Donald Trump not run because the polls say that? No.
Well, I'm not sure, you know, if he's so good at debating, maybe a press conference with some friendly reporters. Don't run from that, because the debate stage, I can tell you, is going to be a lot harder than a group of friendly reporters.
Yeah, very true. I have to hand it off to that Fox News panel for, you know, really kind of sticking it to that Democrat representative. You know, again, it's impressive to see what the vote blue no matter who people will do. But Bernie, this is your overall legacy. That's right, Bernie. Your overall legacy of not fighting back against the DNC has created this environment that we're in. And sooner or later, hopefully, one day, someday, people will wake up and not participate in voting Democrat or Republican. And they'll look back at your message and wonder, why didn't you ever have the balls or the soul or the heart or the backbone to really stand up when your people, your supporters needed you the most? You're all in for Biden, but you know something, Bernie? Your words mean nothing because people want to see force a debate. And there's nothing you can say to change that.